My brothers and sisters in Christ, as someone who was involved in the business world before I've ever entered seminary as a priest, as someone who has, my own personal, retirement funds and investments, as many of you do, whether you do it for reason of a business that you own or just your own 401k or the like, lots of people watch financial markets to see what they're doing, what they're reacting to predict what's going to happen next. But I've been involved in many a conversation over recent years about how more and more the markets seem unpredictable. And I've speculated before that this is due to an irrationality creep, if you will. If you go back to like foundations of free market enterprise, if you go back to Adam Smith in the days, the idea that the invisible hand is a moving force in capitalism, that people, individuals working by their own rational self-interest together help guide the markets. And yet, what we can often see is that people more and more act irrationally. And when everyone acts irrationally, then the market itself sometimes can move in seeming irrational ways. These thoughts all come to mind to me when reading today's gospel passage. The fact that rational self-interest drives one decision, but sometimes our irrationality drives us a different way. The gospel passage talks about the kingdom of heaven being like this treasure buried in a field. You find it, you sell everything, you buy the land. Or likewise, the pearl of great price. That again, you sell everything to have that one thing. The idea is that when we find the fullness of life in God, the kingdom of heaven, when we know Him, when we come to the realization that He is our everything, then everything else pales in comparison. We're ready to give up all else to have the one necessary thing, the only thing that truly matters. And yet, for many of us, we can say, yes, we know this. Oh, we read the passage, how beautiful. Yes, that's true. And yet, do our actions and choices always reflect that reality? In fact, this is where sin enters the picture. Much like irrationality and market behavior, in the same way, in our sinfulness, we act against our own self-interest. We're irrational. Somewhere we know that we shouldn't pick anything over God. We shouldn't pick anything over the kingdom of heaven, and yet in the moment, I do. The ROI is terrible. Like, forfeit relationship with God to pick this fleeting thing here, and yet, how often do I do it? This is why it becomes so important for us not only to constantly avail ourselves of the sacrament of penance, to seek God's mercy for when we sin, when we choose poorly, when we put ourselves before God and neighbor, but also to be very conscious, whether it's through of the wonderful practice of a daily examination of conscience or other just deliberate practices in our spiritual life, to be aware. What are the things, what are the traps that draw me in? What are patterns of sinful behavior? What are the things that I irrationally put before God, even though I know that's not a good choice? Where am I irrationally drawn? That's that concupiscence we speak of, that stain of sin, even when we're freed from it, that mars us. As St. Paul says, why I choose that which I do not want. Why I do the things I know not why I do. And so it's important for us to start to identify, where are those spots in life? Where are the places that I act against self-interest? Where are the places that I have blind spots, weak spots, that I know will be exploited by the tempter? And where can I make more deliberate preparations to avoid those pitfalls? Because, in fact, my best interest is to put nothing before God, and God is my everything. There's nothing I shouldn't be ready to trade or forfeit if only I can have that one necessary thing, and that is life in Christ. My brothers and sisters, we who know Christ, who have been baptized into His life, death, and resurrection, have known, have seen, have received the royal inheritance of being a beloved son of the King, beloved daughter of the King. May we not let anything stand in the way of owning that inheritance, that identity. May we seek the treasure in the field, the pearl of great price, and let nothing stand in our way. May God bless you all.